Alright, so you've heard it all before. Women dig a dude who's got confidence. Ladies are into guys who show strength. But here's the real deal. Most guys miss the mark when it comes to understanding what confidence and strength really mean. It's not about putting on a show. It's not about acting tough or pretending to be someone you're not. It all boils down to one thing. And this revelation will have 95% of women falling head over heels for you. But let me tell you, this truth is a tough pill to swallow. It's raw. It's uncomfortable. And if you can handle it, your whole approach to attracting women, building relationships, and living life will never be the same. In the next few minutes, I'm going to lay it all out for you. What truly makes you irresistible to women, and it's all based on the wise words of Marcus Aurelius. But before we get into it, if you're dead serious about unlocking your full potential and want more insights like this, smash that subscribe button. I promise you, this video is going to flip your perspective upside down, so stick around till the end. You won't regret it. A dive into Stoicism. The truth I'm about to drop on you is something that comes from deep within. It's not something you can fake. You can't fake it, you can't manipulate it, and you definitely can't pretend to be a Stoic. This truth is all about mastering yourself and finding that inner strength. Two things that Marcus Aurelius, a top-notch Stoic philosopher, knew like the back of his hand. He believed that the key to living a meaningful, satisfying life was to embrace self-control, inner peace, and logical thinking. He understood that to be truly irresistible, you've got to be the boss of your own self. You need to rein in your emotions, your impulses, and your thoughts. So, what's the hard-hitting truth? It's plain and simple. Real attraction comes from being the best version of yourself, not to impress others, but for your own sake. And this truth is backed by 10 Stoic principles that will shake up how women see you. 1. Embrace the power of silence. Be silent when necessary and speak when it will benefit you. Think about the last time you were with a woman you wanted to impress. Did you fill every silence with words? Trying to seem interesting, trying to say the perfect thing? Victor was just like that. He'd sit across from women, trying to fill the air with his voice, thinking if he talked enough, she'd like him. The silence felt like an enemy, a space he had to fill to avoid awkwardness. But every time, it was the silence that made him feel uneasy. And worse, it made him feel like he wasn't enough. Here's where Marcus Aurelius comes in with wisdom. Be silent, or say things that will improve the silence. The power of silence isn't in avoiding conversation, it's in using it to your advantage. Silence isn't awkward. Silence is strength. Imagine you're with her again. The conversation slows, but instead of rushing to fill it, you sit there calm, composed. The silence isn't uncomfortable. It's intentional. When you're silent, you're not afraid. You're not desperate for approval. You're confident enough to sit with your thoughts, to be present without filling the space with meaningless chatter. Women notice this. It's not the loud guy that grabs their attention, it's the one who can be silent, who isn't afraid of a quiet moment, who doesn't feel the need to constantly perform. Silence creates a sense of mystery, a space for her to wonder what you're thinking, to be drawn to you because you're not trying to prove anything. This kind of presence is magnetic. It shows that you are in control of your own emotions, your own thoughts. You don't need to be loud to be noticed, you need to be present. And that's how silence becomes irresistible. 2. Stop being a people pleaser. Don't seek validation. Do what is right. Victor was tired. He was tired of trying to please everyone around him, trying to be the man everyone expected him to be. He'd bend over backward for people, always afraid that if he didn't, they might not like him. Women, friends, colleagues, it was exhausting. Every time he thought he had it right, there was someone else to impress, another opinion to consider, another way to twist himself to fit into someone else's mold. It wasn't until Victor read this profound wisdom from Marcus Aurelius. Don't seek validation from others. Seek it from yourself. It hit him hard. He realized that he had been running on empty, trying to fill himself up with the approval of others. And it wasn't working. The more he sought validation from people, the more he lost touch with who he actually was. It was time for a change. Victor stopped trying to please everyone. Instead of being a version of himself that everyone could accept, he decided to just be himself authentic. The change was immediate. Women started noticing the difference. When you stop seeking validation, when you stop pretending to be something you're not, you become more attractive. Women crave authenticity. They can sense when a man is just being himself, not playing games, not pretending. Victor wasn't afraid to express his opinions, to stand by his values even if it meant not everyone would like him. He stopped bending to every expectation. This is the mark of a man who knows his worth. When you stop seeking validation, you stop living in fear, and women find this strength irresistible. Live for yourself, not others. This is the key to becoming the man they can't resist. 3. Control your emotions. Master yourself. Victor was no stranger to emotional outbursts. He was reactive. Anger flared up quickly. Jealousy took over in an instant. He would say things he didn't mean, act impulsively, and then regret it. He had no control over his emotions, and that lack of control was holding him back. Have you ever been there? In those moments when you feel anger rising up or jealousy creeping in, and you know you should hold back but you don't, you act on impulse, and in the aftermath you feel weak. Marcus Aurelius spoke directly to this, saying, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Victor decided to take this to heart. Instead of reacting impulsively, he began observing his emotions. He didn't push them away, but he didn't let them control him either. He took a step back. He asked himself, is this emotion serving me, or is it taking me further from the man I want to be? Every time anger threatened to take over, Victor chose to breathe and think instead of lashing out. Every time jealousy crept in, he paused and reminded himself that he was in control of his reactions. When you control your emotions, you stop giving away your power. You're no longer a slave to your impulses, and women find that strength irresistible. They don't want a man who loses his temper at the slightest provocation. They want a man who remains calm, composed, and confident no matter the situation. Master yourself and you will master your relationships every time. 4. Live with purpose and vision. Live according to your nature and purpose. Victor didn't know his purpose. He went through the motions every day, doing what was expected, but inside he felt lost. He didn't have a clear vision of where he was going, and that made him feel empty. Have you ever felt that way? Going through life, doing what you're supposed to do, but not really knowing why? Marcus Aurelius advised, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Victor realized he was drifting. He wasn't living with purpose. So he stopped and asked himself, what is it that I truly want? What is my mission in life? Once Victor got clear on his purpose, he became unstoppable. His actions were no longer random. They had direction. Every day had meaning because he knew where he was headed. When you live with purpose, you become magnetic. Women are drawn to men who have a vision, who are going somewhere, who know what they want and aren't afraid to go after it. Victor's life became exciting, purposeful, and full of meaning. His energy shifted and women noticed. They didn't need him to have everything figured out, but they needed to see that he was going somewhere. Live with purpose and watch how everything changes. Women will be drawn to your drive, your passion, and your direction. Purpose makes you irresistible. 5. Be comfortable with discomfort. Accept life's challenges and grow through them. Victor hated discomfort. He did everything he could to avoid it. He took the easy route, avoided difficult conversations, and steered clear of challenges. But deep down, he knew he was avoiding growth. You've probably felt the same way. When faced with discomfort, your first instinct is to run, but running doesn't make you stronger, it makes you weaker. Marcus Aurelius said, "The obstacle on the path becomes the way." Victor realized that discomfort wasn't something to fear, it was something to embrace. The toughest moments in life are the ones that shape us the most. Victor started stepping into uncomfortable situations, not because he liked them, but because he knew that's where growth happened. When you embrace discomfort, you become unstoppable. Women find this kind of resilience irresistible. They want a man who doesn't shrink in the face of adversity, who can handle whatever life throws at him. When you're comfortable with discomfort, you become the kind of man who inspires respect and admiration. Embrace discomfort, and you will become the man they can't ignore. Sure, let's continue with the next 5 Stoic suggestions. Here are the remaining points with emotionally engaged 500-word segments for each. 6. Take responsibility for your actions. You have power over your actions, not the results. Victor's life had always been filled with excuses. If something went wrong, it was someone else's fault, his boss, his friends, even the woman he dated. He wasn't used to taking responsibility. He'd dodge the blame, defend his actions, and justify his mistakes. But deep inside, he felt something was missing. Something wasn't right. He had this voice in his head that reminded him, "You control only your actions. The results aren't up to you, but your effort is." That was a game changer for Victor. He started owning up to every decision, every mistake. He stopped pointing fingers and started looking at himself first. This didn't mean he was perfect. It meant he was growing. Instead of blaming others for his failures, he asked himself, what could I have done differently? It was humbling but powerful. When you take responsibility for your actions, you gain control over your life. Women don't find a man attractive who blames others for his shortcomings. They're drawn to someone who owns up to his mistakes, learns from them, and gets better. Victor learned that when he admitted his faults, it wasn't a sign of weakness, it was a sign of strength. Taking responsibility means you are in control of your fate. The world doesn't dictate how you live. You decide. By doing this, Victor not only grew as a person, but his relationships deepened. He became someone women could trust, someone who didn't hide behind excuses. Responsibility makes you unshakable, and that's the man they find irresistible. 7. Don't fear. Death. Embrace the present moment. Death is a certainty. Live fully now. Victor was constantly thinking about the future, planning every little detail, worrying about what could go wrong. He thought about his job, his relationships, his finances. He thought so much about what might happen that he almost forgot how to truly live. Have you ever caught yourself doing that? It wasn't until Victor's mentor told him, don't fear death, for it's the one thing in life you can't control. Embrace the now. For Victor, it was a wake-up call. He was wasting his precious time worrying about the unknown, not fully living in the present. He was too busy planning for tomorrow to enjoy today. What would it be like if you stopped fearing the future? If you embraced this moment instead of always looking ahead? Victor started living with urgency, not out of fear, but out of a deep desire to truly experience life. He started talking to women like they were the most important thing in the world, not because he was desperate, but because he wanted to be fully present. He didn't waste time thinking about what they might think of him or what might happen next. He was here in the moment, fully engaged. This shift changed everything. When you stop fearing death, when you stop worrying about things out of your control, you begin to live. Women are drawn to men who are present, who aren't constantly looking over their shoulder or planning their next move. They want a man who sees them, hears them, and values the moment they're in. Victor learned that when you stop fearing death, you start living, and that's the kind of man women can't resist. 8. Be ruthless with your time. Time is your most valuable resource. Use it wisely. Victor wasted his time like it was infinite. He'd scroll through social media for hours, watch TV shows he didn't care about, hang out with people who drained his energy. He'd procrastinate on important tasks and then complain about not having enough time. Does that sound familiar? It wasn't until he read Marcus Aurelius's reminder, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Victor realized something terrifying. Time was the only resource he couldn't get back. So he started being ruthless with his time. He cut out the distractions, the people who drained him, the things that didn't serve his vision. Every moment became precious. Victor's relationship started to change too. He stopped wasting time in meaningless conversations. When he spent time with someone, he made sure it was real, deep, and valuable. This wasn't just about work. It was about his life. Women started noticing a shift in him. They could tell he wasn't wasting time, he had a purpose in everything he did. And that was attractive. When you're ruthless with your time, you don't settle for the mediocre. You invest in yourself and the things that matter. Women are drawn to a man who doesn't let his time slip away. They find it irresistible. Time is your most valuable resource. Guard it, use it wisely, and become the man women can't help but admire. 9. Keep your expectations in check. Don't expect the world to conform to your wishes. Victor had a tendency to expect too much. He expected women to act a certain way, to respond to him in a way he thought they should. When things didn't go according to his plan, he'd get frustrated. He'd feel betrayed. Can you relate to that? But Marcus Aurelius told him something that changed his perspective. Don't expect anything from anyone. Instead, accept what comes. Victor realized that when he expected the world to meet his desires, he was setting himself up for disappointment. When he stopped expecting and started accepting things as they came, he found peace. The world wasn't going to bend to his will, but he could control his reactions to it. When you stop expecting, you stop giving away your power. Women don't want to feel like they have to live up to your standards or expectations. They want to feel free, not judged. And when you stop expecting things to go your way, you allow space for real connection, for things to unfold naturally. Victor learned this lesson well. He stopped putting pressure on women in relationships. He stopped expecting them to meet some idealized version of what he thought they should be. Instead, he enjoyed the moment, accepting people for who they were. By releasing his expectations, Victor grew more content with life, and women, seeing his calm presence, were drawn to him. When you stop expecting, you free yourself and others to be exactly who they are. 10. Be the calm in the storm. In the midst of chaos, remain calm. Victor's life was full of storms. He had stress at work, personal relationships that were falling apart, and his own inner turmoil. He'd react to every little problem, every slight, and every challenge. His mind was always racing and his energy was drained. Have you ever felt like you were caught in a storm, with everything swirling around you? Marcus Aurelius taught that when chaos surrounds you, the only thing you control is how you respond. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice. Victor decided to practice remaining calm, no matter what was happening outside of him. He stopped reacting to everything and started choosing his responses. He would breathe deeply when frustration hit. He would pause and reflect when anger flared. He learned to be calm in the storm. Women could feel the shift. They saw that Victor wasn't frazzled or desperate. No matter how crazy life got, he remained steady. This was the kind of man women wanted. They didn't want someone who lost his mind when things went wrong. They wanted someone who could face challenges with grace and calm. Victor's calmness became a magnet. When the world was chaotic, he was the one people turned to. He was unshaken, and that made him irresistible. In a world full of chaos, be the calm. Women can't resist a man who remains steady when everything else is falling apart. Those are the 10 Stoic suggestions that can transform your approach to life. Love and relationships. By embracing silence, mastering your emotions, and living with purpose, you'll become the kind of man women find irresistible. Stay calm in the storm, take responsibility, and remember your time is your most precious resource. As you put these Stoic principles into practice, you'll stop being reactive and start becoming powerful. Women will find you unshakable, and you'll become the man you've always wanted to be. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time, the brutal truth. The brutal truth is this: women are drawn to men who embody Stoic principles. You can't fake it. It's not about trying to impress or perform. It's about being authentically yourself, grounded in self-mastery, and embodying strength and emotional control. When you live by these Stoic principles, women won't just find you attractive, they'll be irresistibly drawn to you. So the next time you feel frustrated or confused about why women aren't showing interest, remember this: it's not about what you do, it's about who you are and the man you've become by living a life of purpose, integrity, and emotional control. If you've learned something valuable today, hit that subscribe button and join our community of like-minded men striving for true strength. Share this video with your friends and leave a comment about what Stoic principle you'll start practicing today to become the most irresistible version of yourself. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time, keep growing, keep evolving, and stay true to the Stoic path.